Hello, friends. Whoo boy, today was a roller coaster, and specifically at the end, it was a roller coaster. I'll tell you everything about it right after I take these out of my ears. Okay, so things start out pretty fine. I'm asked by my mom to move my car out of the way because she needs to go to work. So I back up my car and she goes off to work and I drive up the driveway. Reason I drive up the driveway instead of driving on the side of the road or parking on the side of the road is because it's street sweeper day today and I don't want to get a $40 ticket. So I'm up on the driveway. I get out. I decide to go back in bed. All the way up until around 9:30, I decide to get up, get some water, use the restroom, and then I decide to go on my phone to find something interesting to watch. I end up finding this YouTube video by a guy called oh man, I'm forgetting his name right now. He's the guy who did the Backrooms videos, and in this particular video, he is exploring an underground mall, and I only got to the part where like he's going under the stairway down into the mall area, but that's about it. I'm really interested to see any more on this video. The mystery has definitely ignited me to be more curious, but something else ignited my curiosity, and that was a video about uh, resurrecting actors after they're dead in movies and TV shows. And it was the Corridor Crew, a group of special effects artists that like to react or talk about special effects on YouTube. And they were talking about all these different VFX shots of actors who had died before their, role could be completed in a film, and or they were used for advertisement or for a little reference in a movie, and they basically just go under the criteria of how good is the effect, how convincing is the acting and performance, and is it tastefully done. I'm not going to go over the whole video in detail here. I highly recommend, if you're interested in that idea for a video and that subject matter, to definitely check it out for yourself. I think it was a very funny and insightful video that definitely makes you question, how ethical is this? This is interesting. I decided to watch that on the television screen in the den while I was eating my Krispy Kreme mini cruller donuts. I decided to have 3, but with a cup of coffee with a bit of caramel syrup and half in it, which was actually quite good. And I actually was compelled to have one more donut, so I had one more mini cruller donut with another helping of coffee. My sister gets up and I greet her, and she wants me to hear about this history about our grandpa and my mom's side on my mom's side. So I'm always down for some family history, so I decided to sit down and hear about the whole story. I have to say it was very compelling, very engaging. Apparently, my grandpa and my grandmother fell in love with each other when my grandpa was 17 and my grandma was 15, and they decided to travel off to like Las Vegas without, uh, but like their car broke down, so they needed like some additional transportation, and my grandfather decided to hang out with his with my grandmother's parents for a while. And yeah, he was like really resourceful. He liked to build things. He liked to fish. He liked to, you know, explore, and he even did some gold panning, which was interesting to hear about. He was a really interesting sounding fellow, and yeah, I really wish I could have met him, or I really wish there was some video recording of him. Like, sadly, there is none. Which, or as far as I'm aware, there's none. Maybe there is like some old VHS footage or something, but if there is, I'm completely unaware of it. As far as I know, he only exists through written documentation and my mom's own accounts, because yeah, she knew him. But yeah, it was really cool hearing all about him and his history. Really, really compelling stuff. After that, I remember what happened after that. Hmm. Oh yeah, me and my sister had a nice breakfast. We had eggs, like in a patty formation with pepper jack cheese and English muffin with mayonnaise, and I even air fried some. What do you call those? Hash browns to have with it, and all that was very good. Give that a big thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. And while we were eating, we were finishing up that corridor video, corridor effects crew video about the dead actors being resurrected. And yeah, we enjoyed that. Then there was that video made by the guy who did the backrooms videos, so we watched that. I described to my sister, yeah, actually, it's not real footage. Like he didn't literally find these places or build these places. He made these places in a computer program called Blender and put realistic textures on these concrete like surfaces, um, or computer surfaces made to look like concrete surfaces. And he simply just added like an iPhone filter over everything to make it appear like it was real looking footage. And so it looks convincing to the eyes that it really is real footage. So yeah, that was yeah, she seemed very interested by that. But we were getting pretty antsy, so we decided to part separate ways. I went to my room and I was trying to explore how I get motivation for doing creative work using the app called Ash to figure that out. Apparently, I find that I'm heavily motivated when there's like an outside force that's like getting me excited to do the thing. Like when there's like, I want to show my art to someone and see their reaction and hear what they have to say about it. Like, that's what gets me excited, apparently. If I'm just doing it for myself on my own, I know that sounds like the more noble thing to do and the more like true artist thing to do. Like, don't you know true artists don't care what people think? The true artist only cares about what they put on the screen, regardless of what who their audience is. At the end of the day, their audience should be themselves. I get that for a lot of like artists out there, but for me, I like it when my art is seen and when I hear what people's opinions are of it. Because not only does it tell me where their thought process is, it lets me know like how I am seen, even though I know how I prefer. I know that like at the end of the day, I am who I am, but I always find it interesting to hear how my sensibilities are viewed by others who want to view it. So I just think that that's an interesting exploration. But after doing that conversation, I realized that I hadn't gotten my Amazon package with my batteries, so I went on my phone to see if it had been delivered. It said it had. It showed the picture of it being delivered. So it wasn't there, and there was no package anywhere in the house that looked like it. So I called everyone who lived at the house to see if they saw it or knew where it went. No one said they did. So to me, that means porch pirate, most likely. When everyone was off doing their own things, someone decided to run up and grab that and steal it. So I reported the issue to Amazon, and they said they're giving me a free replacement in 2 days. So, hey, that's nice. At least I'm getting a free replacement. So yeah, after that, I needed to take a shower. I got dressed for work. I left for work. I told my sister and our family friend goodbye. I love them. And then I went in my car. I drove off. Um, I listened to like 2 songs on my drive to work. One of those songs, I'm forgetting the name of it right now. I know the second song I listened to was the Decemberists, the Cataclysm song, but the first one, I'm struggling to remember. So I'm just gonna move on. When I arrived to work, I parked, I went out, got in, punched in. And if I were to surmise my workday, it was bagging, sweeping, produce, uh, break room upstairs, bathroom checking, um, taking orders out, um, punching sweeps in, going on my first break, doing some breath work. That felt pretty good. Went back downstairs. Decided to do my first closing duty of taking out the trash first thing the hour leading up to lunch. So I took out the trash for produce actually because I was asked by one of my coworkers who works in produce if I could take out the produce trash. And since I didn't really have anything going on at that point in time, I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I did that. And then, yeah, I took out the front end trashes, the check stand trashes, um, the bathroom trashes, the break room trashes, and the janitor's closet trashes. Threw all that out. I used my trusty trash stick to open the trash can because it's a big trash can. The problem was that the other side of the lid was completely warped, so I was trying to use the stick to like slide it open, but in the process it broke the stick in half. It was pretty sad because I had used that stick for I think at least 2 or 3 years, and I've been working at the job for like going 4 years, going on to 5 years this September. So which is like 3 months from now, by the way. So that happening was very sad because I had used that stick to open the trash can or thing many times, so it was a sad farewell to my stick buddy. Oh well. Well, anywho, I threw out the trashes. I punched in. I decided for my lunch because I was getting bored of the meh mac and cheese, or Goodle microwave mac and cheese. I decided to take it upon myself to run over to the nearest McDonald's I could find and then get a double quarter pounder meal with a large fry and large diet Dr. Pepper. As I was eating that, I was watching a video from a guy on YouTube. I'm forgetting his name right now. He's like a guy who looks to be in his like I don't know, late 50s, maybe early 60s. He's got like gray, like hair, beard, glasses. He's into the UAP subject and he does research on it. He's talked about the various government UFO files that have recently released. And they was talking about how put off in the video and that was like my preemptive video that I was watching before the meal came. When the meal did come, and the guy who delivered it was very nice. He even asked me if I wanted ketchup packets. I said yes, and he brought them over, and he asked if 6 packets was okay, and I was like, yeah, 6 is fine. So yeah, very very good customer service at that McDonald's. Excellent. I decided to switch the video to something from another YouTube channel, Jesse Michaels, and he was covering this thing called the GATE program, which was a program. It stands for Gifted and Talented Education, where apparently the government sent agents out to various schools to have students tested for their cognitive abilities. And apparently, like there's this guy who stated he was part of the GATE program, who was being interviewed by Jesse Michaels, and he was talking about what he experienced in the program and how it like traumatized him as a kid. So that was pretty interesting. Um, I'm only like a few, like 20-30 minutes into the video, so I'm not fully deep into it. It's like 2.5 hours, I think, of the interview. So definitely going to have to really digest that, and so I can have a full opinion on. All I could say is interesting. After I was done eating, I walked back to work, and when I arrived, I punched back in. I continued my closing duties by bringing bags up to the front, filling all the check stands with bags, throwing the paper bags that contained the bags into the baler. My co-closer brought the carts and signs in, which I was very grateful for and very appreciative of. I remember I even asked them if they remember being in like a GATE program, and they said no. And then I described what it was. They were like, no, but that does sound interesting. So that was interesting. Um, then, yeah, after that, um, yeah, I wiped down all the check stands. I was asked by my co-closer if it'd be okay if they could leave a half hour early. I said, sure. So they left a half hour early. Um, and then here's where the crazy roller coaster comes in that I alluded to earlier in the video. And that's that this guy was in need of knowing what location he was in. He had a smartphone, by the way. He didn't have a flip phone. So I was like, bro, just look it up. I didn't say that though. I was trying to be like nice and courteous. So I was like, oh, okay, here you go. So I looked it up on my phone. I told him the exact location he was in, and they was like, okay, thank you. And then, yeah, by the end of the closing shift, I need to bring the carts into the corral outside, and then he stopped me again and said, oh my gosh, my phone, it ran out of battery. What am I gonna do? I was in the middle of contacting my healthcare provider, and in the midst my phone died on me. I was wondering if you could allow me um, into the store so I could charge my phone so I could contact my healthcare provider. I've got a serious case of diabetes, and like I'm worried something's gonna happen to me if I don't. So I was like, well, okay. So I let my co-manager know about this situation. They walked up. They let them know we're not allowed anyone who isn't of authorized personnel to be on the store premises after store hours. And he said, well, is there any way I can get help? And then here's where the situation gets interesting. I thought, well, he clearly needs help. So I decided to, okay, you guys are going to roll your eyes and think I'm really dumb for doing this, but this is what happened. I decided to give this guy my phone, say, hey, you can contact your healthcare provider with my phone. And they said, really? Okay, thank you. Oh, and to make sure, here's my phone and my charger, so that way you have my phone, I have yours, and that way we both know we're on the same page or something like that. So I decided to spend that time bringing the carts in. I went to the store. I was wiping a check stand. My boss looked at me like, "What are you doing? Make sure he doesn't run away with your phone." So I went outside. He didn't say that directly. He just said, "Go outside and watch him." That's what he said. So I went outside, and he was indeed contacting his healthcare provider. I wasn't scammed. I was putting a lot of faith in this guy. I really shouldn't be so trusting to just absolute strangers. Trust is earned, it is not given. So I was being a complete, you know, uh, like completely irresponsible with what I was doing. I'm seeing this as a learning experience. I acted quickly because he said he had diabetes and he was, worried he was going to collapse or like have issues or complications or something like that. So he was needing help. So he was trying to contact his medical healthcare provider to see if someone could drive up and give him a ride to a location to like a pharmacy. He wanted to go to CVS, which is weird because at that time all CVSs were closed, which didn't make why would you want to be driven to a CVS if it's clearly all of them are closed. It just doesn't make any sense. This guy looked to be like in his mid 50s, like looked like Mexican, but had sort of a Americanized Mexican accent. Um, like wore a checkered shirt, like denim jeans. Had two backpacks and a fishing rod. Um, yeah, and I asked him, "How are you feeling right now?" And he said, "Well, I'm feeling nauseous and a little nervous, and dizzy. I want to say dizzy, but I don't feel fully dizzy. Just nervous and nauseous." And that's what he said. And yeah, I was there. He was trying to let his healthcare provider know of his location, but it was a robot voice, so he wanted to get in contact with a real person. He did get in contact with a real person. He let the real person know of his location. They wanted to know if it was in a residential area or a commercial area. He said commercial area. And they said, "Sorry, we're not providing drive-in services at this time." So he gave me my phone back. He said, "Thank you for your help, but it looks like I'm not going to get help." So yeah, and then he didn't say that. He just said, "Thank you for your service," and then he walked away. And then my boss asked me to punch out for the night, so I punched out, or co-manager. And when I walked out, and my co-manager saw me off, I said, "Hey, maybe I could." I said, "Maybe I could take them to a nearby CVS." It was a dumb of the moment thing. I realize now. I just kind of felt bad for the guy. Now that I'm looking back at it, it was like would have been a huge liability if I did decide to, on my own time and gas, take him to a CVS that more than likely was already closed. And of course, the co-manager stated this in super plain English: all CVSs are closed at this time. Get home safe. In a sort of like, "What are you thinking?" tone of voice. Like, you know, I get it. Like they were probably confused of why I was making that suggestion at all, considering the possible safety risks. And like, if this guy really is diabetic, maybe he'll like knock out on the ride over, and like, then what do I do then? And I'm liable for that. So yeah, it makes sense. And I was just trying to be nice. I was trying to be like good, but ultimately, the whole situation was just a mess of like uncertainty and like stressfulness and like confusion. So I decided to just go in my car, just to be 100% sure. I wasn't doing this because I was planning on taking the guy anywhere. He was a ways away at this point, so I didn't even know where he went. But I decided to look up on my phone if the CVS's were open. It said that there were a lot close, but there was some that said 24-hour service. I was like, what? So I clicked on the one that was 24-hour service and the phone number to call to make sure, and said, sorry, the store is currently closed. If it's an emergency, call 911. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, I don't know why Google said it was 24 hours when it's clearly not based on the phone call. So I decided to just drive home and say, hey, that's the guy's responsibility for, he said he didn't take the diabetes seriously enough until it got really bad, and now he's in a pickle. If it was that bad, he really should have had some sweets on hand to help with his, diabetes, instead of just like being ill prepared. And then when I arrived home, I decided to talk through with Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro in extended complex problem solving mode about the whole situation to see how exactly I could have handled that better. And basically, Google recommended never, give your phone to someone you don't know as a stranger, even if it seems like they're giving you collateral and it seems like they're in a bad spot. You could have easily been scammed. So, you're lucky you weren't, and it seems like he genuinely was trying to get help from his healthcare provider. But rule of thumb, don't ever do that again. And then if you genuinely feel like the guy needs help, then call 911 medical emergency, because even if he did get a ride to a pharmacy, all pharmacies are closed at this hour, so it wouldn't even matter if he got a ride there at all. At the end of the day, he would still be up a creek without a paddle. So his best chance of survival would be a 911 medical emergency call, because that operates 24/7. So yeah, that was good to know. Um, and then I was told, the reason why my boss would act, so like, what the heck were you thinking? Obviously, like in hindsight, it's obvious, but at the time, I was kind of like flustered about the whole situation because it was closing. I was low on energy. I was exhausted, and I wanted to help this person. It seemed like they were in trouble. But basically, what I found out is that all that stuff happening during the closing hours could have been a huge liability, and allowing someone into the store would have been a liability for the co-manager, and it just would have not made any sense at all. So ultimately, I'm glad. I still have. I got my phone. I'm glad no one was hurt. But you know, now if a situation like that ever comes again, I know how to handle it. If I feel genuine concern for the person, or like they're not trying to scam me, I'll say, hey, I'll just call 911 medical emergency. We could get you hooked up with someone, a medical professional who can help you out, instead of, you know, trying to take matters into my own hands by giving the phone and like allowing them to try to call what they think they need, when in reality that's what they didn't need. They needed like 24-hour help instead, which would have been provided by 911, medical services. So it was a big mess. It was a big stressful, open-ended situation. I hadn't really experienced anything like that before until today, and now that I have experienced it, I know that like how I handled that was not optimal at all. It was pretty silly the way I handled it, but in my defense, I felt genuine concern for this individual, and didn't want them to like pass out or suffer. But the way I was trying to solve the problem was, you know, ill-advised. It could have been much better because, like, handing your phone to a complete stranger, and having to wait for them to finish their call, and then the call not even being like not even working, and then suggesting an idea and then being told like all the stores are closed, and then finding out that even if those stores were open, still would be a huge liability and concern because like a pharmacy wouldn't really have someone who's in the situation that guy was in to provide for in the first place, and it it'd be much smarter for them to get medical assistance instead. So yeah, it was just a big mess. But yeah, I feel like I've come away learning that I need to realize that trust is earned, not not given away. I came from this experience understanding that when presented with a situation like this, always go for the most obvious things first, like, oh, if they're hyperglycemic or if they have, you know, diabetes, maybe like as a quick way of dealing with the problem right off the bat, maybe give them something sweet like candy, help them out. And then afterward, call medical professionals who will be available 24/7 no matter what, like 911 medical. So yeah, that's what I learned. So yeah, I got out of my car after that whole discussion. I saw my sister. I told her the entire situation. We had a whole conversation about it. Then after that, I was told that there was like ice cream with moose tracks, cherry ice cream with moose tracks. My sister gave me that. I had that. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. It's actually for our family friend, but our family friend said we could have it. And then I was told by my sister that some pasta was made. So I tried that. It was really good. I had a Pepsi cherry flavor prebiotic cola with those noodles. That was really good. And then I had a deep dive on like UFO, like research, counterintelligence research. The government maybe like forces like foreign adversaries to spend ridiculous amounts of money researching technology that clearly isn't real. But what if it is? Then they waste a lot of time and energy researching if the clearly fake technology is real. So that way, the U.S. continues having a lead on them. And yeah, that just lasted for a really long time. And then I was like, okay, it's getting super late. Time to get ready for bed. So I took my vitamins, I brushed my teeth, and now I'm making this video. So yeah, that was my long roller coaster of the day. I learned some family history. I learned what to do in a weird, uncomfortable, and unpredictable situation when it comes to closing duties at work. And I learned that it's important to, you be constantly asking questions and thinking deeply about things instead of simply just accepting things on their surface. So yeah, pretty educational day. All right, well, I'm gonna go to bed now. Thank you for watching. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, and have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, evening, or night. Bye bye. Oh, it didn't work. Bye bye. Huh. One more time. Bye bye.